Hello, hello. Welcome to Revelator Alpha for a radio podcast thing. Yeah, it's this thing. That's what it is. And for another show here. Basically, coming in live from the UK. It's a lunchtime show. I decided to try this out and see how it goes. I thought I'd bring you some latest biking news, some biking chat, some stories as well. Some not so nice, actually, I've got to say, and some just sort of general interest as well. I'm going to open it up straight away to the chat as well. So if you've got any comments, let us know. You can obviously follow on the socials as well, doing all that kind of thing, if that's your bag, as it were. But say, the chat is open. Cyborg, hello, good morning. Hello, how are you? Let me just bring that over there so I can see that a little bit better. Now, I've also got to say I am transmitting. God, listen to me. I'm doing going live on YouTube and also on Twitch as well. So I'm going to continue doing that for a while and see how we go. But there are some different stories here, and it's all about new bikes. Yeah, I suppose there is some new bikes in the offing, but it's all stuff in the news. Let's just get into that, shall we? Okay, thanks for watching. Listen, hey Cyborg, thanks for your consideration there. Yeah, I'm feeling, oddly enough, I sound rough, but I and at times I sound really rough. But actually, in myself, I feel okay. It's just I'm still having to wrap myself up and everything. So yeah, it's. These old bones, it's it's not good enough. Anyway, some quick libation here. Oh God, I wish it was. No, it's just coffee, just hot coffee. There we go. Look, you can actually see it in my motorcycle mug. So I am in the process of redesigning or resetting this the studio, which I'm kind of trying to set up here. I'm going to have multiple screens, so I've literally just moved one screen over, so it's a little bit further away from me, and I'm going to have another purpose screen as well. So if my eyes are kind of going like that right now, you know what I'm doing. So I'm kind of looking down at one screen here, then I got another one, and then hopefully I'll have another one as well. It'd be a lot easier to manage, hopefully, he says, hopefully. But anyway, what's in the news? Let me just bring you onto the websites here as well. Let me just. There's no particular order here. I got a press release yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Basically, that Energica, the electric motorcycle manufacturer, they're basically saying that their 2022 sales results have shown a massive growth. Now, I suppose this is not unexpected, really, because the electric market, full stop, is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, of course. But from there, they are quite an expensive brand. But here it says via 15 new sales points in the United States, now totaling 25 in North America. US Energica sales doubled in 2022. I mean, that's good, especially in all these times. Globally, the company saw similar success via the 135 total sales points, up to 70% compared to 2021. So they're growing massively, and I think they've just opened up a new lead. Now, was it into Japan or was it India? I brought the story a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember what it was, but Energica are one of those companies that just seem to be growing from strength to strength. I'm quite a fan of them, all their designs, I should say. I really do like them as a motorcycle brand. I think they haven't tried to create something that looks just electric, if you know what I mean. They were one of the first bikes that I can think of that really created bikes that look like bikes, but just got a hidden fuel electric sound there. Yes, cycle, but that electric fuel is hard to get. Oh, that's right. Do you know what? If things are to be believed, Here's the thing: if things are to be believed, the electric. I was listening. I said this in a show a while ago. I was listening to a guy talk about the electric vehicles of the future, and he was saying it's a complete con. It's a complete. There's no sustainability within it because one, it's not green. It's not green to produce the electricity or it's not green enough. And when we talk about green, it's got to be on a national scale, on a continental scale of energy production, and most of it is still produced by fossil fuels, the burning of oil, the burning of, coal, let's say. So it really depends. Then you've got to develop the infrastructure. All the charging points. Well, guess what? You need wire, cabling, right, plastics, all that sort of stuff to, and then manpower and fuel to drive the machines, everything. So when you start adding everything up just to be able to charge your motorcycle or your car, it doesn't quite work out in terms of, it does work out, but it doesn't work out. It's not as green as everybody, like the governments, would like you to believe. Certainly our government here in the UK and all around Europe, it's this big push to go, yeah, green, green, green. Electric vehicles, that's the one. But, everybody keeps on pointing out to them, hold on a minute, there's no infrastructure here, really, to make it viable. And now we've got a situation here in the UK, at least, anyway, I know it's different around the world, where charging your electric vehicle away from your home is as expensive as, or very close to it, or as expensive as getting petrol or diesel, for your normal vehicle. So, and also you have to wait longer. So it's lost the argument, it's lost the war already. But look, as I say, in terms of electric companies, I'm not a huge fan. Okay, I'm very interested in the evolution, but I'm not a huge fan. And also, I think about the value. And yeah, if you know me, I harp on about the value all the time. I think the value is getting a lot closer for EV vehicles, electric bikes in particular. And I've always said this: electric bikes, especially, are great, and they're a great option for if you live in a town and or in a city, and you're just doing short commuter rides, within the city, within the town. If you got to travel miles and miles, if you want that, the bikes are going to be a lot more expensive. So right now you can buy EV vehicles or EV bikes for, let's say, £4,000 or £5,000, even less if you're buying a little scooter. Well, you might think, well, I'll stretch that, but I'll never have to pay for fuel again. Fine, you quickly charge it at home, plug it in, away you go. And I get that, and that's the way I see it as well. But in terms of the electric bikes, look, they're only going to get more popular. And I've always say this, that all these companies that have been doing great the last few years, like Zero, like Allergica, like Lightning, and all these other companies who are starting to grow. And obviously Harley Davidson, of course, with their LiveWire. Watch out, because the big players are coming now. Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Yamaha, India and China. They're coming on. There we go. Cyborg. Here we go. Sorry. South Africa, almost impossible as we only have power for 8 hours a day. Look, absolutely right. It really depends where you are in the world, what your infrastructure is, and even what your current supply is. It really depends. I mean, they were talking here in the UK that winter might be having power cuts. Anyway, that hasn't happened since the 1970s here in the UK, but the demand is going up and up. They were saying in California not so long ago for people to stop charging their electric vehicles because the grid could not handle it coming up into winter. So it's not, you got to think about these things. It's not, it's not always rosy, and it doesn't always work on all levels. And I think when people or governments or especially politicians, they try and pull the wool over your eyes, it's a bit naff. Okay, the next story here is from KTM. Well, there's a couple of things from KTM here. Again, KTM, obviously they make some of their bikes some of their bikes are made under license in China via that CF Motor, but also in India as well. And from the Chakan plant, the KTM 390, which they make and it's co-developed with Bajaj from India as well. They've just just rolled out their 1 millionth motorcycle from its plant in Chakan, a KTM 390. Look, I think KTM 390 is a BMW 310, I think it is. Very popular, very capable, and great bikes, and this is where, I say to companies like Harley Davidson, they say, well, look, all your other competitors are bringing out, they still sell the big bikes, right? The BMW, the KTMs, they still sell the big adventure bikes, the big whatever touring bikes, whatever. The ones that are going to cost you 20 grand plus, let's say, whatever. But they also sell these really cheap bikes, all these small displacement bikes. And guess what? KTM's selling 1 million of them. That's not bad business. That's great business. So well done to them. Well done to them. I'm a fan of KTM as a company. I don't always like their bikes in terms of design. I don't always like the way they look, and sometimes I think they do look a little bit rough plastic, if you know what I mean. But it's but you can't deny some of their bikes are very, very capable. So yeah, very good. I'll quickly jump ahead to the next story. This is from KTM. This is from Visor Down here in the UK as well. KTM joined by Husqvarna in announcing 2023 biking deals. The reason why I wanted to bring this story to you guys was this. Quite a few of the manufacturers over the last sort of couple of months, I think Yamaha have done it, certainly Suzuki have done it. They've come out with different ways to not only finance your vehicle or the new bikes, but they offered incentives. So these manufacturers are actively trying to help riders buy brand new vehicles, but they're trying to find ways to help you out with that, or give you some kind of small discount or give you some freebies or whatever like that. Again, some motorcycle manufacturers, I'm not naming names, Harley Davidson, and Indian and big ones, they should take note. You got manufacturers out there who are trying, they see it. They see what's going on in the world. They see that a lot of people, they find it really difficult, one, just to earn enough money to survive right now in terms of global inflation, but two, to buy a brand new motorcycle. They're finding it really difficult. So, they're finding incentives. Anyway, so here, KTM and Husqvarna, they've, with power deals and your deals power deals from Austria and your deals from Husqvarna. Austria would be KTM and Husqvarna would be Swedish. KTM and Husqvarna both announced their motorcycling deals for 2023 in the last couple of days, with finance deals on bikes as well as other riding gear. They're all under the Priera Mobility Group with deals on biking gear. This is the other thing. They got extended warranties as well. So a lot of these are, they're expanding how beneficial it is not only to own a KTM or Husqvarna, but they're going to try and give you a better deal, essentially, give you a better deal. And they're basically saying in this article that maybe Gas, who are all part of the same, big under the Priera Mobility Group, whether they would offer something too as well. No, I say some of the bikes I think are great. You can't deny the performance of the bikes. You can't deny the way they ride and the way they handle. I'm just thinking from my point of view, from looks, the aesthetics. Sometimes I think they're a little bit odd. But saying that, look at where KTM were sort of 20 or 30 years ago. Look at where they are now. Massive company, massive change. And they've not only stuck to being, hey, we are an Austrian company. No, they are a multinational company, a multi a brand affiliated company as well. You've got to hand it to them. They've done great. So these bikes that have this deal from KTM are the RC125, RC390, 125 Duke, 390 Duke, 390 Adventure, 790 Duke, and 790 Adventure. So not all bikes, okay, of course. So these 7 bikes are available with 3.9 APR in the purchase plan, or 4.9 APR personal contract purchase, which is the PCP. And I've always said this, that be careful about, thinking that people are going to readily buy anybody's bikes right now because of the finance deals that have got more expensive. So you have to look at ways of getting people in through the door and offering them a good deal. And so this kind of manufacturer assistance is actually a good deal for me. I think it's really good. Okay, it may not be the best financial deal, but at least they are trying as companies to give you a helping hand, or to get you, and essentially they want you to buy a brand new motorcycle. It's good marketing, it's good business. The more people that are riding their bikes, the bigger it grows. Whether they earn a little bit less or whether they can earn more money from financial derivatives, it is what it is, but that's good. Right, okay. The next story here, and no, it's not biker girls, which is all very nice, don't get me wrong. It's all lovely. And I've got to say, you might have to, I'm not sure exactly what all these images are over here. I'm just kind of looking at that. What was the story here? Oh, yes, Yamaha with their 700... Tenere 700, great bike. I've ridden this bike, really, really capable. They dropped the larger Tenere, the Super 10, and they focused on this. It's has opened. So basically, they've launched in 2029 this 700. And a new world of freedom and adventure for over 40,000 European riders. Wow. Have they sold 40,000 Teneres? Really? In Europe alone? Wow, if they have, that's impressive. That's impressive. I hadn't realised it was way that much. I wonder how accurate that is. Hex, hello there. How are you? Enjoying the show from California. Hello. I hope it's sunny and warm over there and not as freezing as it is over here right now. But no, glad you stopped by. Anyway, so the reason why I wanted to bring this story out for you guys was that Yamaha have launched this kind of experience where you can. Now, what is it? You can get this Tenere World experience where you can actually register and then go on to a rally raid experience with Yamaha. Obviously, Yamaha are very much involved in, in Dakar and all the rally raid experiences as well, and doing that sort of touring and enduro and all that sort of stuff. So the new Tenere Spirit experience for 2023 is ensuring that every rider is given the chance to enjoy their Tenere to the full in a diverse range of riding situations. For 2023, Yamaha is introducing the exclusive new Tenere Spirit experience, in which Tenere owners can join some of the world's most famous rally raid events with the official Yamaha World Raid team. Now, if that isn't a great deal, I do not know what. A total of 20 Yamaha customers and the motorcycles will be transported to their chosen rally raid, where they will follow both the actual route and a parallel route to the race competitors and live alongside the race team in bivouac each evening. This, to me, I'm very tempted to go and buy a Tenere right now just for this. This sounds absolutely amazing. Hex, 42 degrees right now, Rev. Ooh. Yeah, not as warm as I thought it was going to be there. All right. Let me just check whereabouts in California. Are you a little bit on the north side of California over there? Yeah. Let me have a guess. You are Auburn way, that kind of way, other side of Sacramento. Have a guess. Is that right? I bet I'm wrong. I bet you I'm completely wrong. Am I? Santa Rosa, up in the hills there a little bit more? Yeah, maybe. That kind of temperature, yeah, it always was. I always remember when I lived up there, the northern part of California was always a little bit colder. I'm sure I could be completely wrong there, but there we go. Anyway, listen. So, you're SoCal. Oh, SoCal. I got it completely wrong then. Well, there we go. You know, if it's 42 degrees, then of course it's morning there for you guys, isn't it? I keep on. Yeah, sorry. It's the cold. It's the illness. It's not good for me. Anyway, listen. Right, so that's from Yamaha. Their experience. I thought it was quite a decent thing there, actually. Right, let me get rid of that. Get rid of that. Let me get rid of. Oh yeah. So here's another brand, a new motorcycle here. A brand from now. This comes from Visor Down again here in the UK, and there's a Czech brand, a Czech Republic brand that was. Well, it would have been from Czechoslovakia back in the day, of course, from 1920s and 1930s. And they're saying they're going to start again with the Bomerland 21. I believe I covered this last year or so, something like that. But they've just brought it back up. The historic Bomerland brand. I mean, look at this. Oh dear, look at that thing. Bomerland is on its way back to production, potentially. With the first bikes being built this year. Bomerland originally in what was Czechoslovakia. Thank you very much. I know my history. In 1924, its name is a German word for Bohemia. Oh, Bohemia and motorcycles. You don't normally. There isn't that kind of. Oh, look, I'm just riding my Bohemian motorcycle. You know, you don't really have... there we go. And it was founded by Albin Liebisch. There we go. Bomerland's bikes. Now, Bomerland's bikes have many aspects in which they were unique. For example, the bike would be 3 meters long with a 2-meter wheelbase. It would be available in 2, 3, and 4-seater variants. Powered by 600cc. The colours, okay, that was the old one, right? Production ceased from Bomerland as a result of the outbreak of the Second World War. In their 15 years or so, Bomerland built 775 motorcycles. A very small manufacturer then. Now Bomerland seems to be coming back. Motorrad reports since 2029. Peter Knobloch began sorry. Sorry. Cyborg, why so long? Yes, why indeed? It's 6 foot. Do you know what? I mean, Craig. I mean, who in their right mind would have that? Anyway, began planning the revival of the brand. See, it's interesting actually. They're talking about this. Quite a few old brands, not only from the old Eastern Bloc, but all around Europe. These are really old brands, let's say 80, 90 years old. They went out of business a long time ago. Somebody somewhere has retained the rights for them or sold those rights of that brand. And they've just been lying in a drawer somewhere until some bright spark comes along with a bit of, do-re-mi, and they all of a sudden they try and revive these brands, which I think is noble, but you kind of wonder, are they throwing the money down the drain a little bit? But there we go. But there's been quite a few stories of this popping up in the last, say, 2 or 3 years. Now, when we talk about expensive motorcycles, and I'll get back to the story in a minute, but I want to make this point. When we talk about expensive motorcycles, and when I talk about expensive motorcycles and say about the value, I have a bit of a problem, as you know, if you watch my channel, with motorcycle manufacturers, big motorcycle manufacturers, who don't offer cheaper options from their lineup. The likes of Harley Davidson, right? Likes of Indian to a certain degree. The likes of BMW to a certain degree. And also, I suppose you could say Triumph to a certain degree as well. All brands, most brands are offering expensive motorcycles here. But only the few ones are offering really cheap motorcycles. Okay, the ones from India and China we know about, but obviously the big Japanese they're offering cheaper bikes. Right, here is where I don't have a problem with expensive motorcycles, and I'll tell you why. These these boutique brands, these kind of bespoke brands, these ones who are just going to build, let's say, 10 bikes a year or 5 bikes a year or something, like a Brough Superior or something like that. You know, the ones that are only going to sell like an Arc Vector electric bike, they're only going to build 1 or 2 bikes a year, that kind of thing. They are specifically built for a discerning customer who's got lots of money, and whether they want to ride it or not is not really important. They know they're going to put their money into that bike, and some might say it might be as an investment, some say it might be a foolish purchase, whatever. But the thing is, they are going to build bikes for a particular market, an affluent market. I don't have a problem with that. Because these companies are specifically for, people with a lot of money in their pocket, right? I've got no problem with that whatsoever. But they're also not mass producing them as well. So their economies of scale are going to be a lot higher. They're not going to be able to offer it cheaper anyway. So I don't have a problem with that at all. In fact, I think it's great. I obviously won't buy one. I can't afford one. But that doesn't mean to say that somebody else shouldn't be. But I do have an issue with major manufacturers who don't offer, cheaper versions. Anyway, the bike to revive the Bomerland name is called the Bomerland 21. It will be shorter than the originals. Thank you. But the wheels remain large diameter, 21 inches, and made of aluminium. Okay. As the engine, it will be larger, have twice the cylinders compared to the 20th century originals. It's an air oil cooled parallel twin cylinder engine. 760cc will produce 90 horsepower with 18 newton meters. Okay, yeah, I mean it's not really go. Okay. Knobloch's original plan was to use carburetors to add to the authenticity of the revival model, but for Euro 5, I can never say this word. Homologation, is that right? How you pronounce it? Fuel injection will probably be added. Here we go. Finally, we come to the price, and again, I'm not shocked by this. I don't have a problem with it, which is set at €58,000, which equates to £51,000. I don't have a problem with that because this is going to be for a specific buyer, who's going to want to have something that is unique, or there's only 2 in existence, let's say, that kind of thing. So I don't have an issue. Hex, after the Harley-Davidson's debacle, I'm looking hard at Triumphs at Royal Enfield. Triumph, great brand. I've always had a lot of time. I've owned a few Triumphs in the past. But yeah, for me, Royal Enfield, I've got to say, are my probably one of my favourite brands at the moment. I've got to say. They've been knocking on the door for a long time, I've got to say. And I suppose since the Himalayan came out, I suppose Royal Enfield really got my attention about, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, maybe I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. In terms of the bikes, I think, I could see myself riding that. Then they came out with the Himalayan, and then they were coming out with all the other bikes, the Interceptor GT and all that sort of stuff. And they started upping the CC, and they started upping the quality, and the design started looking better and better. I started speaking to a few guys from India. This is before this channel existed, in my motorcycle magazine days. And some builders out there who were building bikes, custom bikes. And I just really, really started to pay a lot closer attention to all of the Indian motorcycle manufacturers, but especially Royal Enfield. I think they're a cracking band, brand. I think they're a cracking brand, and I won't make any apologies for it. I think because not only are you buying a bike that looks good, it performs decent enough. Yes, they're not the fastest on the block, but okay, it depends what you want. If you want a really fast bike, then don't get one. Go get something else. However, if you're talking just value, it's not going to break the bank. And, I say I'm a big fan. So, yeah, Triumphs and Royal Enfields. Definitely. Triumphs, you'll definitely get a nice bike, build quality, nice bike, and all that sort of great design. So there we go. That's there. Now, what was this? Oh, yeah, I've already had that story from KTM. The one from Yamaha. Now, here's an interesting one from... There's been quite a few stories here in the UK about safety. They're gonna shake up, as the headline here for Motorcycle News. They're gonna shake up the whole European testing body. Present proposals to test and rate electronic aids and kits. So a lot more technology is going to come out, and a lot more emphasis on the safety and the functionality of that safety. And it just goes on and on and on. But it's not just on to do with technology on motorcycles, but it's also to do with technology in vehicles, but it's also to do with technology in the safety and testing of the production of, all parts and everything like that. So there could be a big knock-on effect in the future for any motorcycle manufacturer or car manufacturer who wants to not only produce products for the European market, but also who want to import products into the European market as well. So watch your space on this, because this is going to be an interesting one. It could have big global ramifications as well, because if you're saying that one huge market is saying that no, we've got to change the way we're doing it, then it could easily filter out into other places as well. Okay, let's move on a little bit now, and I suppose, well, it's I'm gonna condense everything into a bit of a general chat now. But let's just talk about this. Okay, where are we? Right. I've been looking at a few stories this morning, the last couple of days actually, and I thought I'd have just a general discussion about and open it to you guys as well. But I think sometimes, I hear stories from around the world and biking world, and they don't give a good impression of people who ride motorcycles, full stop. Now, you can't kind of compare a certain person, let's say, who rides a motorcycle who might be doing something wrong. You can't compare it to everybody else, I know that. But the problem is people do. So here's a story here from, there's, sorry, I got the wrong one here. Where are we? There we go. So this is from, where is this from? This is from IF Press. Oh no, the London Free Press. And basically, there's some London biker charged with assault is back behind bars. I mean, I don't know. There's quite a few of these stories. It's weird because maybe I've never paid attention to these kind of stories before. But they seem to be popping up recently. I don't know why. Here in the UK, this is alleged London biker. I don't understand how you could be an alleged London biker. What does that mean? That allegedly he came from London, or allegedly it was a biker? I don't get it. Awaiting trial on drug trafficking. An alleged London biker awaiting trial on drug trafficking and weapons charges is back behind bars, charged with assault causing bodily harm. I mean, look, he's not going to be seeing the light of day for a while, is he? I mean, so that's just one. Here's another one here this is from the BBC News. This just came out, 6 days ago this was. But I think the incident happened in May last year, right? Basically, there were 3 guys from a motorcycle club down there. And I won't go into exactly, you can read this yourself. But they went into, they saw a club, a club member from another club riding around, or they knew they're in the area. So decided two got in a car and they sort of stopped the bloke on his bike. And the other one, driving a van, just drove straight into him and killed him. And the judge in this case is just, and they all got convicted. Was it manslaughter? Yeah, manslaughter. The two of them who drove the car got 4 years. The one who jailed got 12 years. I just think it's a bit less. And okay, the only on 12 got only on manslaughter, I suppose. But here we go. Look, Mr. Justice Garnham said Mr. Crawford, the deceased, unfortunately, was utterly innocent in all of this. He had just been out for a ride on his bike with friends in the motorcycle club. In the motorcycle clubs, he said. Basically, they've been riding around in a club. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs. They're either a rival club or something like that. Neither he nor his fellow bikers had done anything wrong that evening, or so they think, right? You three, this is to the accused, you three had absolutely no business trying to dictate who rode their bikes in Devon, which is an area of the UK, in the southwest part of the UK, or what they wore when doing so. So in other words, basically the judge came right down on them, saying you have no right to go and even interfere with or certainly attack anybody just because they're riding around and wearing different club colours, right? I know in the motorcycle world, in club world I should say, there's this big thing. But in terms of law, this is law here. This is law. And he basically said, no, right? He called them infantile. This is the first time that I've seen a press here in the UK and also a judge label people from a motorcycle club in this way. The judge said the men, who were all members of the now defunct Plymouth Bandidos Motorcycle Club chapter. So the Bandidos Motorcycle Club, they had a chapter down there, but it's now all split apart. I'm hardly surprised if this is what happened, right? So the men who were members of that club, they acted after being alerted to the presence of another big rival club. You obviously heard of the Hells Angels and their supporters, the Red Chiefs in the area. I say these are all news known. I'm not in this world, so I don't know. But here's what it says. So the judge said, in the infantile world of such motorcycle clubs, to ride a motorbike in neighbouring county displaying your colours is, it seems, to cause great offence to the club that considers that county its home territory. In other words, the judge is saying this is ridiculous. Just because somebody's riding in your group. I don't know, there are definite protocols. There are definitely, you watch all these YouTube channels on YouTube. They talk about the protocols and all to do that, right? So they may have broken a rule here. However, this is the interesting thing, right? The judge goes on to say, you were each contacted by the sergeant at arms at your club about the presence of these other clubs, and you each took to the streets of Plymouth. Now, does that mean that the sergeant at arms, in the club, said, "Look, these people are, these other club are going through our thing. You got to go and sort them out," or did he say, "Look, they're coming through, just not do anything"? We don't know. We just don't know that. So basically, they're basically saying they're not working alone, and this is basically, and they say, go on, say, they've taken away a father, grandfather, brother, and a senseless and warranted attack. 12th of May, 12th of May last year. Okay, so they spotted Mr. Crawford, a member of the Red Chiefs, on his motorcycle and wanted to talk to him about wearing his club colours on their patch. Okay, so maybe they just wanted to do this protocol thing, address that kind of thing, that kind of thing. Beyond me, but there you go. Mr. Crawford had travelled into Cornwall from Plymouth with other club members that evening, but went off alone to return to his home in Ivybridge, Devon. Brading and, these are the two people, were in a black Mercedes car. And it doesn't give much more than that. So, I don't know, reading that, there seems to be a bit of holes in that story as well, but it just doesn't give It just doesn't give a good example to anybody out there. I just think it's incredible that people would do this kind of thing, and look, people can look at me and they can say, you don't know about this, you don't know about the lifestyle. But when you're taking another person's life, and you're doing it. Why? Why? I just don't get it. I mean, here's another story here, and this is from India. This is from Bengaluru. Basically, this guy, after an altercation, it says, he got in the back. A guy was trying to ride away on his bike, and he hung onto the back, and he was dragged for ages on this back. I mean, how he held on, how he didn't. Look at the. How has he not got road rash all over the place? How is he not? I don't know. I don't know. Do you know what? It's a bit odd, but I look at this footage now, and the guy being pulled looks a lot slimmer than the guy actually getting up off the ground. I reckon this is a bit of a hoax, I've got to say. On closer inspection, that looks a little bit of a hoax to me, because if he was being pulled like that and just being flung around, he'd be, there's nothing in his legs. There's nothing in his legs. They can't be right. Anyway, there we go. Look, I just think that sometimes, let me just get rid of that. Wrong one. I just think there's a lot of press out there. Crikey, there are YouTube channels out there who thrive on this stuff. Biking news and motorcycle club news and all this sort of stuff. And that's all they talk about. That's all they and I've listened to it in the past, or watched it in the past, I should say. That's more's the point. But it's an alien concept to me, and I suppose alien concept to most people. But regardless of what your affiliation is, it just doesn't look good, does it? It just doesn't look good when you got stories of people hurting each other or fighting. Or we have the same thing in the football world. With football hooligans as well. Exactly the same thing. They don't represent us as football fans. They don't represent us. Regardless of how aggressive we are on the football terraces, regardless of how much banter, let's say in inverted commas, how we give the away fans, right fans, but it stops at physical confrontation. But some people can't. They just take it to that next level, and some people do the weirdest things, the strangest things, and you think, what are you doing? I mean, I was having a chat with somebody a couple of years ago, actually, and we were talking about some altercation that had gone on. And we both said, are these people never going to grow up? Are they never going to grow up? Are they never going to, think about the big picture? Think about what you're fighting for. What are you getting violent for? All that sort of stuff. If somebody has an argument with you, okay, fine. I know things can escalate. But even if they escalate afterwards, you've got to feel pretty embarrassed with yourself that you let it get that far. And sometimes, you say, well, I know you can't always walk away. I know that. I'm not naive enough to say you walk away, turn the other cheek at every single opportunity. I know that. I know that completely. But there are always people out there, and I look at it now from my age, let's say mid-50s, and to get into any physical confrontation with anybody, it's just one, it would just be ridiculous. A man of my age, fight. I mean, come on. Two, it will probably end up a lot worse for me because let's face it, age and all that sort of stuff, it's not going to work well for you. But three, I remember back when I was a kid, right, growing up back in the day, going out, used to get into scuffles, used to get into fights, used to go to football, used to go on a night out, whatever. But you kind of knew most of the time that the person that you would be tangled up with, they're not fighters, let's say. They could maybe handle themselves, but very few were fighters. Now everybody seems to be an MMA fighter, or everybody seems to be thinking they could do stuff. So even if I was a lot younger, I would be very cautious of even getting into that. So that's why I always say to, young kids, they say, look, just walk away from that sort of stuff, or certainly don't put yourself in that position that you're going to be, in trouble for. In the motorcycle world and the biker world, there can be at times a lot of bravado. There can be a lot of people thinking that they're really tough. I made a video about this a long time ago, talking about bikers and what bikers, do they? I can't remember what I gave the title of the video for, but it's are they always tough, or always should you be scared of bikers and all this sort of stuff, right? And then basically I was saying, no, you shouldn't be scared, because most people, whether they're tough or not, most people are not arseholes. Most people are just generally nice people, or they just keep themselves. They mind their own business, right? So if you're not part of their group, then they're not going to interfere with you, and you shouldn't be interfering with them. If you suddenly sparked up a conversation with them out of the blue in a kind of natural way, then most people will have a conversation with you back. And let's face it, we know in the motorcycle world, for example, if you're going anywhere, if you're at a pit stop somewhere, or a garage or whatever, somewhere, filling up your tank, and away you go, and some other guy rolls in on a bike, your natural tendency is to say, oh, hello, how you going? That kind of thing. You kind of talk to other people, don't you? Regardless if they're in a motorcycle club or not, or whatever, especially if you're not in a motorcycle club, I should say. But for me, that world doesn't exist. So I'm free to talk to anybody, and I'll talk to anybody, and anybody can come and talk to me, and we'll have a chat, we'll have a chinwag, and and away we go. I don't know where I was going with this, but in my mind. So, we have that freedom to be able to talk to anybody and go to anywhere. And this is what I say to younger kids, to say, if you don't have that within you to be aggressive or to be an arsehole to anybody, then you'll always, and you treat people with respect, and treat people with kindness, and treat people with, fun, and, being just a decent human being, the chances are, regardless of who they are, they'll see you, or they'll treat you in the same way. I've been to all sorts of places, all over the world. I've been, and never had an issue with anybody. I've been in some, dodgy areas, never had an issue. Granted, I've also got my radar on to say I'm not going into a really dodgy area. If it looks a bit dodgy, I'm gonna get out of that, pull out of it. But that's just about having a good awareness about your surroundings and everything like that. But then, if you have situations where people are actively trying to get into that and trying to be confrontational, then the way it was years ago, and certainly here in the UK. It's a different thing now for younger people. Now, for an older person, such as myself, I think, if you're going to get into any kind of confrontation at this age or older age, then as I was having this discussion with a friend of mine a few years ago, he said, you got to be looking at yourself, and you're going to say, come on, just grow up. What's the matter with you? What is the matter with you that you're doing this kind of thing? So when you hear stories of, that going on, where somebody has died just for some rivalry when they didn't need to do anything like that. Somebody's lost their life for no reason at all. I could understand if they wanted to stop this guy, and it got into a bit of a fisticuffs over their pride. I'd still think it was ridiculous, don't get me wrong, but I could understand it if it just ended up in fisticuffs and that's all it was. But when they take it to that next level, then all of a sudden you got to look at yourselves. And I'm hardly surprised that it's all disbanded in that, because all of a sudden you're going to think, what the hell are you doing? Because not only are you screwing it up for yourself, but you're screwing it up for everybody else. And by association, then you screw it up for everybody else who just happens to ride a motorcycle. And that's the problem. The problem is that people, they don't see always see all the ramifications of their actions. And you would think that this is only applies to young people. It obviously applies to, you know, other people as well, doesn't it? Older people who should know better, and that's the thing. So I'm hardly surprised. That that the judge who was less than sympathetic, let's say, that the judge basically said to them, you know what, this is infantile, you childlike behaviour, you didn't need to do this type of thing. But there we go. Let us know your thoughts on that. I'm just going to quickly see about something else. I need to change your setting. I forgot to change your setting from yesterday's show, by the way. There we go. No, hold on, wait a minute. Nearly there. See if you like this. There we go. Look at that. Boom. And oh, look at that. Beautiful. Right, so anyway, this is the show today. It's basically, there hasn't been a lot of new news. There hasn't been a lot of new motorcycles today at all. From the manufacturers out there. So we know there's new bikes coming from all the manufacturers this year. So they'll be trickling through as well. I think I'm interested to see what some of the big manufacturers can do in terms of electric. I'm interested to see what some of the manufacturers are going to do in terms of more affordable motorcycles and cheap ones. But I'm really interested to see how they respond to the likes of Indian and Chinese manufacturers who are going to start producing their bikes and selling them more and more to the European markets, let's say, and potentially elsewhere, let's say, you know, the American markets as well. So it'd be very interesting to see what goes on and what they can come up with as well. But as I say, there's lots of other little mini stories coming out. Again, I've been reading more and more recently, the last few days, about rubber being in short supply again. More rubber supplies, you know, for tires and things like that. And there's a problem with not only on certain brands, but also this has been the case for the last year or so. But you still may have to order tires ahead of time, so give yourselves a long lead time, or you may just have to accept whatever tire you can get. You know, if you have a preference on a bike tire or a car tire, you just may not be able to get a hold of that. But say, let us know what you think on anything that I've talked about so far. Let me just cancel this one. Hold on. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. There we go. Yeah, nice little reaction to the video which I put up last night regarding my reaction to the Harley-Davidson reveal, which is I suppose I was less than complimentary, and I do, you know, I'm not going to hide away from the fact that I was less than complimentary, and it's nice to see that most of the people in my in the comments section wholeheartedly agree. And this is one of the reasons why I made the video, because actually on the live show this is exactly what was coming through to me. But very, very interesting. Okay, and this is where I kind of don't understand people, or I don't understand other YouTube channels, and I just don't get it. Okay, I do get it, and then maybe I'll talk about that in a minute, but I just don't get this, and I'll tell you what it is. How can other YouTube channels be complimentary about that? But also, how can in the comments section, you read all the comments section, then all of a sudden virtually every comment is positive as well. So I don't get it. How can they be complimentary and not see what I'm seeing, or see what the people who are watching my video and agree with me are seeing as well? So it just goes to show there's probably just a divide out there. There's a huge divide, regardless of what a company like Harley-Davidson do. There's still the divide. People like it or not, and people will defend those actions, you know. And I suppose the way I look at it is this, and I had some lovely comments from you guys out there, so I really do appreciate it. You know, I really appreciate all these comments. I really do, and not because they're supportive, and not because you agree with it. I just, it's good to hear when people understand where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to say. Not only about Harley Davidson, but about motorcycles in general, about motorcycle. Anything to do with motorcycles. I try to cut through the nonsense and just see things for what it is. Somebody made a comment on the video yesterday saying, "Why are you always so negative? Why aren't you ever positive?" And I just replied, "Simple. I call it as I call it as I see it, and this is it." So I don't understand how some people and some channels, some of the ones that I thought, okay, and you know, I had this remark as well. You had somebody was watching. I won't mention your name, but you know, they're watching a channel. They thought highly of this channel, and now they're not so sure whether they really want to watch this channel anymore because it was all positive. And you're like going, how can it be positive? Well, you know, it's ridiculous. Let's just. I mean, what I was about to say, Hex. Sorry to say, but I think Harley Davidson days are numbered. They're probably gone with the next 20 years. Very sad. Yeah, it is very sad. But the thing is, who they got to blame? Themselves, right? Easy, they get paid to do. They get paid to do it. Wow. Do you know what, Cyborg? I've talked about this so many times. Look, I know. How can I put this, right? I know that when the live launch was going, right? The live launch was happening. I know that there were certain YouTube channels that were pumping out content very, very quickly, let's say, or at the same time, right? And they had all the media stuff, right? They had all the media photos, they had all the media B-roll and video footage, right? They had it ahead of time. They were contacted. They contacted Harley Davidson, or they were contacted directly to say, "Can we have this? Can we have this media content so we can pump it out straight away?" So that shows me right there and then they have a biased connection. They have a biased connection with the manufacturer, and that for me is not independent. That is not independent reporting. That is not independent opinions, and that's my point. You can call me what you like. You can slate me off for what you like. But at least you'll know that I'm 100% independent of bias. Well, you try to be anyway. But these other guys aren't. They're not. They're not. If you're releasing that, if let's just say, I were to release a new video at the exact same time with all this extra content, all this extra footage that can only be accessed by the media site from Harley Davidson, but it hasn't been released yet. Guess what? Hey, there's obviously you've got this ahead of time. There we go. True. One channel even admitted it that to me is not true content in my opinion. Yeah, it's not true content. It's not true content. I'd much prefer just to sit in front of the camera here like this and work and talk stuff and have discussions about it. But at least it will be real. At least it'll be honest. And I think the problem is, I know another YouTuber was asked months ago to go and be featured in it. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem if Harley Davidson or any other manufacturer ask you to say, "Hey, do you want to come and appear in our promo video, let's say, for later on in the year," and that sort of stuff, but you got to sign an NDA. I'd have no problem with that whatsoever. Excuse me. I'd have no problem with that whatsoever. I think that's fine. You do that, whatever. But, to then try and say that, you're going to try and be independent in the way you report about it, it can't be right. So this is the thing. I don't understand. I saw another guy. Because I wanted to fact check my opinion, my point of view. And your point of view, who was, in the comments as well at the time on the live show, this is. I wanted to see, okay, hold on, am I wrong here? Have I completely got this wrong? And first thing I did, I went and watched the live reveal video again. I watched it again. Didn't skip a beat, just went through all the way through, looking at it and going, yep. My mind still hasn't changed. That's what I was thinking. Yep. Okay, that's a little bit different. Okay. So you kind of picked out little things here and there. But then I thought, do you know what? Let me just check other people's reaction to this. And then I thought, I watched a few videos, right? And I thought, that's interesting. They're being quite positive about this. Some have been very positive. Some had a few questions. But overall, they were still complimentary, right? And I was thinking, why? What's going on here? I said, okay, let me get into the comments section and see what the general feel is, the general consensus. And I was amazed. At virtually everybody I read. Okay, there could have been lots of comments that I didn't read that were not complimentary. But virtually everyone that I read was positive, complimentary. They all agreed with it. They all loved it. And I was thinking, wow, that's... Now, does this mean that the people watching your content are only watching your content because they want to listen to either a positive view or a negative view or a balanced view or there's got to be something along those lines where the audience that you've got, no matter what you say, if you say something positive, they're going to positively reinforce it as well. Cyborgs, Think Hardy is trying to sell exclusivity more than bikes. Do you know what? There's a lot to be said about that. And it could be. It could be that that's their marketing plan. They actually don't care about numbers of sales. They know they're going to sell those bikes eventually around the world. This is at a global level. So, and they're going to, they don't care. Because for them, these, let's say the bikes that they've released, they are 1 year bikes, aren't they? They're only 1 year bikes. They're not really long-term bikes. So they don't really have to care about that. They know that because they're limited edition, they will be snapped up somewhere. And I think, I just wish not only in motorcycle channels, but all video channels, all YouTube channels that I see, not all, because there are some that are try and be balanced, right? I just wish they were more balanced. I just wish they weren't as desperate or trying to win favour of any particular brand. You've got review channels out there, motorcycle review channels, and they might do a great job, but if they're honest with themselves, they know that they've got to maintain a relationship with the manufacturers, and then because they want the manufacturers to send them bikes. Look, I want you to send me motorcycles. I want Suzuki, Kawasaki, Harley, Indian, whatever, Triumph, BMW. I want you to send me your bikes so I can try them. Yes, please send me your bikes. And I'm actually honest about this. Please send me your bikes. But you'll get an independent review. The problem is, if I say to you, say to a manufacturer, please send me your bikes, I'll review them, and I've got, let's say, 100,000 followers, let's say, and I'm getting 100,000 views, then they start to take you seriously, and then they start thinking, yeah, okay, we'll send you a bike. But if you start slating them for it, then all of a sudden it's a problem. Cyborg, thanks for always being real and honest. Thank you, I appreciate that. I mean, that's what I try to do with these shows, and definitely try to do with the videos as well. Just give honest opinion, an honest debate, an honest opinion. And I think sometimes there's a compromise there, and I get it, because you're trying to develop a YouTube channel, you're trying to develop a website, and you're trying to say, so let's just say, hey, look, today, by the way, I've just found this, it was in a toolbox, I hadn't looked in ages, and there, this knife, right? Now, it's quite a little knife, there we go, and I had it, and I was opening some stuff the other day, and I thought, I find it brilliant, let me take it and put it in the workshop, because I knew I had it, right? But let's just, I don't know who makes this, Stanley, right? I made a video about this thing a long time ago. I like these kind of knives, these purpose knives. So, anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. But look, this knife, right? I made it Stanley. And if I said to you, and this video is sponsored by, you know, XYZ, right? You know, Alf's knives, right? Great knife, whatever. Well, that's fine, because all you're saying is, look, I use this knife. It's a good knife, and guess what? They've actually sponsored the video. Hopefully, they will sponsor the video. But do you know what I mean? So that's fine. That's not a problem. However, if let's say some random company sent me something, I don't know, whatever. This is a magnetic torch. I've been using this quite a lot recently. So there we go. And it's really good, right? But let's just say a random company said, right, we want to send you this, but we want you to talk favourably about it, and we want to sponsor your show, right? But you know, here's a script that we want you to read, and all of a sudden, alarm bells start going off for me, because I think, well, hold on a minute, who am I kidding here? Who am I the mouthpiece for? Who am I doing it? So if they send me the product and I genuinely like it, and I think, do you know, this is really cool. I like this. Yeah, it's good. It's got light on it. It's got magnetic. You know, touchy. Is that magnetic? There you go. Look at that. Look at that. I didn't even know that would work. Well, there we go. Look, you know, that kind of thing. Oh yeah, it's good. Yeah, everything works. Yeah, spare set of batteries. Yeah, go buy it. It's really good, right? If it was that kind of approach, fine. But if it isn't, then you've got to step back. And I don't think many YouTubers who do product placements or they do reviews have that ability. And this is why I was so critical last year of groups of YouTubers who were then sent out on riding experiences with the likes of Harley Davidson, with the likes of Indian, BMW, and also with Triumph, just to name but a few. And I think, how can this be biased? This is not content. This is not something that I want to see. This is not something that interests me at all. Because all you're doing, you're showing that, you know, a company has flown you out somewhere to go and ride their bikes. It's a great experience, don't get me wrong. You know, to ride their bikes and so you can tell your audience what you think of them. You know, and I think most of those people went on that, they never bought anything like that. So what does that tell you? Was that they didn't actually buy them themselves. They don't ride them themselves. Hex, the HE limited edition is to try to create urgency for the bike, and why the reason for the high price as the company becomes a boutique brand as they want to be. Yeah, I mean, you know, 50,000 or 50 plus thousand for the CVO Road Glide. Was it Road Glide Limited, wasn't it? I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you know, I think most people can agree that that's just outrageously expensive now. But I get it. You know, but the thing is, this is where I say before, when you're talking about boutique brands, they're usually very small brands, very limited run, limited production. Overall, they are not a big brand just selling very small limited edition runs. So it's a different mindset. It's a different mindset. I just think they need to have a long hard look at themselves and seeing, you know, what they're doing. And this is not for 2023. I just hope that you've got, you know, people out there who are just going to be a lot more honest with you guys, okay? Not with me, because I've seen right through this for many years, unfortunately, within the YouTube world especially. And the thing is, if I watch a YouTube channel now, most of the time I can see something. I can see something there. And you know, not all biker channels here. I'm just talking about other channels in general. There is something there where you think, are you being compromised here? Is there something? And especially when there's a product involved and you think, oh, crikey, you know, But if it's about YouTube sponsorship or sponsoring a channel, and just say, hey, look, da da da, thanks today for the channel sponsor. This, this company here. Da 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 da. Okay, fine. I don't really like it, but I wouldn't say no to it if it meant that it could help build the channel and promote the channel or grow the channel, support the channel financially. So from a financial point of view, I don't have an issue with it at all, as long as your integrity is not compromised by it. Morris, don't be so silly. Well, look, there are channels out there, I'm sure you watch them, who only have one brand, there, or one company who they seem to do with it, Cyborg, it's never easy swimming up the stream, and most swim with it gets rewarded, but at what cost? Well, I would agree. I mean, look, for me, this has never been about money. This is never about money. I have a full-time job. I have other projects and jobs going on as well. I have a full-time. So I kind of do this when I'm spare time, or I've got, other things going on as well. When everybody else is at the house, or I'm here by myself. So this is when I tend to do this stuff. So it's not about money for me. Yes, of course. I want to grow the channel. I want to grow my website. I want to sell my own merchandise. This is my merchandise, not somebody else's, right? I want to sell mine. I'd like to build up my own products and sell those, right? I don't have an issue in, trying to sell products if they're products that I use or that I can vouch for. I don't mind being sponsored by a company of a product if I believe in that product. I don't mind featuring any product or champion any product for free, right? If I truly believe in that. And guess what? I did that with company last year. The Hex Innovate, the Hex EasyCan. Never received a penny. We're on good speaking terms. We've got a good relationship. They gave it to me for free to try out. And I was amazed at how great it was. And I was almost like a champion of theirs for the whole year. Never received a penny, never asked for a penny. Didn't want anything. And that's where I'm at. Because I don't see the need to do that. Now, if there's a company who says to me, look, we want to entertain a relationship with you, yes, okay, fine. Let's discuss it. Let's see what the contract is. Let's see what you want. But in terms of, as I say, integrity for me is 100% the most important thing. Money and everything else is completely secondary. It's nice, but you sell yourself down, sell your soul to the devil. That's it. You're never coming back from that. Once you compromise yourself once, that's it. Game. It's like a politician. You might go in good intentions, but as soon as you get compromised once, or compromise your opinions and compromise your, the way you want to do things, that's it. You might as well give up. Go back to being a baker or an accountant or whatever it is. But anyway, listen. It's I could go on and on and on about motorcycle manufacturers, motorcycle products in general, but I think it's just really important for me to just bring you discussions and information and news, that kind of thing, and that's what I like to do, with these live shows as well. The video and the videos. I've had one out this morning. I've got another one coming out tomorrow. But that's it. I'm not making videos on the regular basis as I have been for the last month and a half. I said to everybody, and I said to myself, and I said it on a couple of live shows as well. I'm only having these lots and lots of videos until just after the live launch from Harley Davidson. Then I'm going to revert back to a couple of videos a week, and then I'll probably do one or two live sessions a week. It depends on how I'm going, how I'm feeling as well. So it really depends. It really depends. But so that's the channel for the rest of the year. There will be video content, but most of my focus is going to be on the live show now. Most of my focus will be that. But there we go. Cyborg, you enjoy the lives. Thank you. I'm hopeful that it will grow. I'm hopeful that more. The problem is you're trying to come out with a show on a live show, let's say, or topics of conversation on a live show, topics of reference. But when it's a slow news day, as it were, it's a slow news day, right? So my thing was, I was scouting around. I was looking at the different news feeds and Associated Press and Reuters and all that sort of stuff, and the ones that I don't normally use, I've got to say, because I tend to use a specific one, then I double that up with a second one, and there wasn't a lot going on, as I say. So a little bit from KTM there, some industry stuff, no real new bikes, potential of new bikes, potential of bespoke brands. Some boutique brands for 2023, but most of it is it's almost like the storm has passed. There's almost like a cold front has gone through, and the big storm has passed with all the news, all the hype, all the motorcycle manufacturers. So we're going to sell this bike, and we're bringing out this bike. This is from October, November, December, September, October, November, and then a bit of a lull, December, then Harley Davidson with theirs. Now we're going to have a bit of a lull for a couple of weeks, I'm sure, and then it will come back. But I'm sure. But I say I do plan to bring out more shows. Anyway, for you, and hopefully you'll enjoy that as well. So I'm kind of what you're seeing here. Let me get it onto the other screen, and you'll be able to see what I'm on about here. There we go. This one here. Sorry, this one. So what you can see there. Oh, wrong one. This area here, pretty much, that is the optimum angle, so you can't see all the other stuff. Put it this way, it's not the stuff that I'm hiding, it just looks horrible. So I've got my cap stand here, and I've got a little wardrobe over there, and there's the window there, and there's a microphone. I'll tell you what, let me just show you. Right, I'm not hiding anything, let me just show you. Right, so they go this way, you kind of see, so you see where it goes. Those are just big moving blankets, which are just to deaden the sound. And I come back this way, and then basically you can see there's a TV here. Well, it's a monitor, and then bits and pieces, all the wires and everything. So you try, there we go. Was that where it was? Something like that. There we go. If I go back to the website, there we go. Yeah. So you try, and I'm trying to create something where it's all enclosed, if you know what I mean. It's almost like a corner cubicle of what's going on, so that I can operate this TV, which is just short, which is a TV really. It's not a good monitor. So I've got another monitor coming, which will be right there, just out of shot, which basically will be, you can imagine, just there, right? So that'll be there. Then I'll have another one, which is just here. So basically I'll have two, but I want to kind of angle them. Instead of having 90 degrees, I want them angled so they're a little bit like that. Not exactly ideal, because I've got to have the camera there as well. So anyway, so I'm trying to make these live shows a little bit more inclusive. The reason why I love doing the live shows is because of the chat, of the chat there. That's why, because I love, I find it difficult, as I say, to answer all the questions or all the comments on videos, and some, especially kind of negative comments, or ones that are critical, because some people are just making those, they're trying to bait you, into having, and I've fallen into that trap before, and I'm not falling into it, and it's not because I don't want to have a stand-up argument with somebody, it's just I just don't have the time. I just don't have the bandwidth to get involved in silliness like that, you know. So, so this is why, you know, if the comments want to come through, people want to have their say. This is why, you know, having this is really great. So I can just speak to you direct in real time, and you can ask me questions or ask me what I think of a particular bike or a particular manufacturer, or, you know, what's going on over here, or this part of legislation as well. January, for me, always seems to be one of those build-up months. It kind of builds up to where, let's say, policymakers, manufacturers, and everybody kind of takes stock. I suppose it's the same for us, isn't it? It's the same for us in day-to-day life. You got the run-up to Christmas, run up to the holiday season, regardless of whether you celebrate Christmas or not. But you got to run up to that holiday season, and then there's, you know, the new year. You celebrate the new year with family and friends and everything. Then there just seems to be that lull. There seems to be that time of reflection, that time of, okay, maybe I need a detox. Maybe I'm just going to slow this down a little bit, gather my thoughts, gather my, you know, my health a little bit back, all that sort of stuff. Then you start moving into February, and then you can see that spring is on the horizon. Then you start to, you know, you start to come out of it a little bit. And I sometimes think that, you know, that motorcycle manufacturers do exactly the same thing, or the motorcycle industry. No, that's not the word I'm looking for. The motorcycle community as a whole, right, including manufacturers and people and arts and music or whatever. The whole thing seems to start coming back alive then, you know, for the year ahead. And that's where I think, you know, we're going to have another week or so of, I think limited stories. I don't think there's going to be a lot coming out. And then, you know, then there'll be just more stories coming out as and when. But certainly, if I come across anything, I'll bring them out to you. Any breaking news, I'll bring it out to you. I'm always on the news feed. I say I get press releases every day. Some I bring to you, and others it's just not really worth it, I've got to say. But anyway, listen, how long have I been doing this? What, an hour and 23 or so. But you know, I've got another show or two lined up. I'm actually off to watch the football tomorrow, so it should be a decent game. Hopefully we will win. The team that I support, hopefully they will win. If they don't, I think it's time for a new manager, but that's another story, and maybe that's for another channel as well. But I say I won't really talk about football on here that much. But I say this is what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to be probably getting on my bike, going to the train station, and then just hopping on the train and going to watch a bit of football. Maybe have a little cheeky pie and mash before the game. Maybe a couple of lager shandies, as it were. Meeting up with the fellas, and then just watching a bit of football for 90 minutes, and just getting increasingly frustrated by the shenanigans. And hopefully we will win. Hopefully it'll be 3 points. Hopefully I can get back in time, and hopefully I'll ride back in time to save the day, and you know, and whatever. but there we go. Just let you know that my bike is bike projects. Well, what's going on? So I'm possibly looking to sell my little 125, that Riehu, which I built last year. They're at that end of the workshop. I made a little short video, which I'm going to post later. My other end of the workshop was in complete chaos for the last week or so. Actually, ever since before Christmas, doing lots of different jobs, and it was in chaos. So I had to tidy that up before doing this live show this morning. The Kawasaki build, which was there before, you can see it in shot. I've moved it out of shot now. It's over there, so I could work on it easier and not interfere with this space here. But the Riehu, the 125, because I'm thinking about getting one that's a little bit bigger engine, maybe 250, even maybe go to a 450 or something like that. That's just a little bit, you know, more fun, as it were, so I could just go bombing around and do things with that as well. So I may just get rid of that. I've taken a few photos. I haven't advertised it yet, but if anybody's interested, anybody's watching later on, at this rate, I might even just give it away for free. I don't know, but there we go. Hey, there's a thought. Why don't I just give it away for free? There's the thought. Nah. I'd have to rough. No, I couldn't do that. I couldn't give something away for free. No. I have to sell. Money. Gordon Gecko braces and all that sort of stuff. I need to make money and sell. But I'll think about that. Maybe not give it away for free, but maybe do like a raffle type thing. I don't know. I mean, I think it's only. I mean, I think my total spend on it in the end was about £1,200. I think if it's £800, £800 or £900, if I'm lucky, that's where it's at. I haven't started it in months. I don't even know if it's starting right now. The battery will be definitely flat, so it'll definitely need recharging and everything like that. It hasn't got one of these annual roadworthiness checks, which we have over here, like an MOT. So that'll be something that I would either get or I would just sell without it. If you sell without it, then that affects the value. But if it's a case of just, creating a bit of space in the garage, in the workshop, so I can work on that Kawasaki there, I think I'll do it. And maybe just, maybe look at another bike as well. But the hard is still good. No dramas away. It's just I haven't ridden it that much, I've got to say, either with illness or one thing or another. I was out on it the other day. A few days last week. It was all good. No issues there. I mean, it's just one of those things that the bike is a great bike. It's never let me down, that Harley Davidson, I got to say. Yeah, I've had a few little teething. Excuse me. I've had a few little teething issues with it. But there we go. Donald, hello. Lots of YouTubers giving away bikes via a raffle. Yeah. I'm not sure. I suppose I could do that. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I'm not really sure whether the whole point of those raffles. I know because it's not a scam, but it's a way of earning money on the channel. And I get that. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, the Harley is great. It's really good. No problems at all. It just needs a bit of a wash and everything. Everything's frozen right now out here, so I can't use my hose pipe or anything. But it's all good. It's all running smooth. I was thinking last year about September, October. Maybe this year I'd change it, go for something different. Maybe upgrade. I have looked at the Road King special and the Street Glide special. Not as new bikes. It was never going to be as a new bike. These would be for used bikes if I could find one. But I just, I just think that it's a great bike. Why do I need to change it? And that's the thing. I like the bike as it is. I don't need to go for anything else. I just wish it wasn't scuffed up as much as it is. I just wish I'd taken care of it a little bit more in those early days. I wish I'd had the ceramic coating on it, that kind of thing. But it got so many scratches on it. In the end, it was just like, whatever. It is what it is. And it's it's a fine looking bike, but it shows. It doesn't even show its age. It shows lots of scuff marks, and it's hasn't got, but it still runs like a dream. So why get rid of it? But as I say, if I had to go for another bike, I would be looking at the likes of Harley Davidson, I suppose, but I'd be looking at the likes of Indian, maybe, but more so, I suppose the ones that I would definitely be looking at would be Triumph, definitely. I'll be looking at BMW, definitely. Looking at Royal Enfield, definitely. Certainly for a cheaper bike, and I'll be looking at something like Kawasaki as well for a bike. Actually, any of the big Japanese I'd be looking at, the big four there. So you never know what happens. But I've got no plans to change my bike or buy a new bike because I'm perfectly happy with what I've got. But it's running sweet. There's no problem with it. I've got these two bikes here as well. It's whether I ever get round to fixing one and getting the other one back on the road, but we'll see. We'll see what it is. Cyborg, Triumph Rocket 3, great bike, really good. Rode that Actually, I don't know when it was. It was last year sometime. I can't remember if it was in spring. But yeah, really, really good bike. Really good bike. There we go. Morris, Everton. Yes, Everton at home. We are. We are Everton at home. There we go. Hold on. I've missed out on quite a few comments here. Chuck Norris doesn't read books. He stares. He's what? Hold on. Why is that? Sorry, guys. This is for some reason. Okay, let me go to this chat here. Okay, that's not working. Right, hold on. Right. Chuck Norris doesn't read books. He stares them down until he gets the information he wants. Lots of YouTubers giving away bikes in raffle. Yeah, Triumph Rocket 3. Ever considered Can-Am Spider? I've seen them. I've seen them up quite close, of course. I've seen a couple of people, or spoken to a couple of people, I should say, who have ridden them, who have them, and they like them a lot. And yeah, I like the look of the Can-Am Spiders. No problem with those whatsoever. I think they're great bikes. Or what would you class them? Do you class them as bikes or trikes, or I don't know what you class them as. Three-wheelers, aren't they? But anyway, I think they're great machines. But I've never actually ridden one. But as I say, I do like them. Right there. Anyway, so it's let's have a look here. So I've been on here for an hour and a half, something like that. But anyway, so look, there's lots of stuff coming on the channel. I'll say most of the workshop stuff, most of the bike experience stuff, I'm probably just going to revert that to shorts now. I'm not going to make long videos about it. I'll make frequent videos or regular videos, but on various different subjects. But as I say, the focus will be on the live shows. It'll be on the things on these live shows and talking to you directly. Donald, open wheel sports cars. Yeah. But to say that I like all sorts of machines. So I can't say, motorcycles, yes, are my holy grail, as it were. I love those. This coffee's gone completely cold. Look, I've hardly drank any of it. Look at that. Somebody said a few weeks ago when I started doing the live shows again, they said I should get one of these heated plates, a USB heated plate, which you stick down and put. See, coffee's always warm. Okay, fun enough, we got one at work. So, and I only used it the other day in out in anger. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So yes, I need to get one of those for here because I'm always talking and never drinking. There we go. A USB, yeah, that's right, a USB heater thing, plate or whatever. Really good, excellent, really good. So what was I talking about? Yeah, so trikes. So trikes in general, I've never really had a lot of experience of them. I've ridden a few back in the day, literally, up and down a field type thing. Never properly, as it were. But I had a go and everything like that. But the trikes that I kind of knew back in the day, and still to this day, they were conversions of sometimes they were chain driven motorcycles, but a lot of them were shaft driven motorcycles as well. So those are the conversions which I saw and which I rode. I never rode a purpose built trike, so I've never ridden Can-Am Spider. I've never ridden a Harley Davidson trike. I've never actually ridden one of those. So only the home built trikes, I suppose, that I've ridden or I've seen up close. So they always really interest me. They interest me for lots of different reasons. But machines in general interest me. But the trikes, I suppose, and quads to a lesser degree. I don't really care so much about the quads, but trikes. One of the things here in the UK, and I know it's different from everywhere in the world, so you can't, but it's that because especially in the summer, you don't have to wear a helmet. You can just ride these around without a helmet. And I think that's still the case. That's still the case. Donald, you've owned several Spiders, but kept our Harleys to ride when the Spider is in for repairs. Okay. Are they prone to high maintenance, a Spider? I don't know too much about them. I seem to recall somebody was saying about Spiders once, saying that, I can't remember. After buying my first Tri-Glide, I asked myself, why did I wait so long? Should we have bought it sooner than it's? Do you know what? Who was it? I was listening to somebody the other day, and they were talking about their trike. It was a Harley Davidson trike, and they absolutely loved it. And it's got nothing to do with mobility issues. It got nothing to do with their age or anything like that. But I know there is an added advantage, of course. But it was, they just loved it. It was just great. There is a kind of sense of, husband and wife, especially husband and wife. They're on a trike. They're going round. And this is back in the summer. They loved it. They're going out on their things, and it was really comfortable and everything. And I just thought, yeah, well, that's what biking or triking is, if that's the term. That's what it should be about, just having fun, and it doesn't matter what you've got between your legs, missus, as it were. It's what you like, isn't it? You must try it when they have an open day. I do. I really do. Rover V8 trike. I tell you what, over the years, and at bike shows and motorcycle events and rallies, I've seen, and occasionally you still see them. You do see them the ones that I go to, you see them quite a lot. It's the same bikes coming back, or trikes coming back time and time again, of course. But back in the day, you used to see them a lot more. And a lot more people being more creative with the bikes that all the trikes and the bikes that they built. At the time, let me just say, towards the late 80s, late 80s, early 90s, I would say. The Mad Max films had been very popular for a number of years, and a lot of people were making these kind of Mad Max themed bikes and trikes and that kind of thing. So there was what do they call them? Not rat rods. So somebody help me out with the actual name of the style of bikes. But anyway, there we go. I was looking at Triumph last night on the web. What better value they are compared to my beloved Harley? Yeah, look, Triumph. I say I got a lot of time. There's some great bikes there, definitely. First riding Spider, hated it, but after 50 miles, I stopped trying to ride it like a bike and more like a snowmobile. The remaining 250 miles were a real joy. That's interesting. You're right, though. You're right. You've got to get into, when you ride a different or drive a different vehicle, right, you've got to check yourself a little bit. You've got to check yourself. You cannot ride it or drive it like the previous vehicle. You've got to drive it or ride it as it is intended to be. You must make a video when you go for a test ride on it with your honest review. I would love to. The thing is, last year I was talking about doing a lot more motorcycle reviews, and I would love to, but the ones that I've done in the past is when I was genuinely looking for a bike myself. So these were genuine reviews, as it were, in that I was actually looking and considering buying these bikes myself, or trying to find out whether these bikes would be suitable for me. So I think if I could ever go to local dealerships, let's say, and just approach them and say, look, I've got this got this YouTube channel, how about you do it? And I tried to do this before with the local Harley dealership, and they basically threw it back in my face. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I was like, okay, fine, there's no problem. But I just think of that as a real opportunity lost for them, but also for me, there's no doubt, but for them, because you could have had somebody who would have been always enjoying the ride, and just being honest about the bikes, but always enjoying the ride. And I've said this in the past about my kind of reviews, that I'd probably be the worst or the best reviewer, depends on your point of view. because I'd always be positive in some way about the experience, because I just love bikes, right? So it's but they would always be independent. So and I think when they initially they said yes, they would definitely like me to ride their bikes, and then the next thing they said no, definitely don't want you to ride the bikes. So I was just like, well, okay, fine, suit yourself then. So I think, if the likes of Triumph or BMW or Kawasaki nearby, Yamaha or Suzuki or that kind of thing, they've phoned me up locally, and they said, or on a national level, they said, look, hey, we'd like you to, would you like to ride this bike? I'll be like, yes, please. Yeah, tell me when and where, or deliver it to my home, and yeah, I'll ride it, and enjoy it and have it. There's a few other smaller companies which I find really odd. They contact me to say, hey, would you like to come and ride these bikes, have these experience? I say, yeah, sure. Let me know. Then you'd never hear from them again. So why contact me in the first place if you don't want me to ride your bike? Just don't ride the bike. But there we go. Yamaha Cyborg. Yamaha also has a weird trike, a reverse trike. What? Oh, crikey! What is that then? They. Okay, not the Nikon. You want about that one? Was that a trike? I don't know what they call those. Yeah, they are 3-wheelers, aren't they? Yeah, two at the front, one in the rear. The Nikon, is it? Yeah, something like that. But anyway, yeah, I'm not sure. Do they have an actual trike? Yeah, okay, the Nikon you're on about. Yeah, the Nikon. Yeah, very stable bikes, and they ride really well, as I'm led to believe. Again, spoken to a few people, come across a few people ride them, and I'm just genuinely interested, genuinely enthusiastic to learn about other people's riding experiences. And I approached a couple of people and say, hey, what do you think about these? And yeah, I suppose it is going to be a natural answer when they say, oh no, it's a great bike, but they are genuinely happy with these bikes. And there's so much positivity about those bikes, those Nikon bikes. They look weird, and you think, yeah, but as we were saying before with Donald, it is a case of getting onto these bikes and just leaving your bias behind, or leaving your preconceptions behind, and you just focus on riding that bike as it's supposed to be ridden, or that trike, or driving that car, or whatever it is, and see it for what it is. And I think that Nikon is one of those bikes, and they've just updated them for 2023 as well. So there we go. Does my wife ride? No, she doesn't. She sometimes comes on the back of mine. We both have Harleys and Spiders. Lovely. We got to arguing over who would ride the Spider. She went out and bought one of her own. Bless her. Brilliant. There we go. That's it. Morris, if the taxation class is tricycle, I don't want one. God, hey, you should be on stage. There's nothing wrong with a tricycle. There we go. I think there was some news. I don't know if this is a UK thing, so apologies if you're around the world. But if you're wanting to get a license, like a car license and a bike license right now, it's actually quite difficult, because there's a bit of a backlog in testing centres. And this is all the fallout from the COVID as well. On top of that, there's a story which I didn't show, but there was another story coming out where a lot of the examiners and the people who work in the testing centres, they may be going on strike. So it's just another body in the UK who wants to go out on strikes. There we go. There we go. Oh, ride my tricycle like no one else can. Exactly right. It just brings back memory when you're a kid, about 2-3 years old, on a trike, there we go, with the pedals on the front wheel, and you're like pedaling along, and I'm sure I got photos when I was a kid, just a cheesy grin smile on the pedal tricycle, zooming along. But there we go. Those were the days. Those were the days when You were free to do whatever you wanted to do. Ride your tricycle wherever you wanted. Try not to get run over on the main road, that kind of thing. But there we go. Hey, listen. I did have a couple other things. You know what? I think I'm going to leave that to the next live show as well. So what's going to happen now? Basically, I'm going to keep on checking all the news feeds and everything. I'm probably not going to do another live show now until next week at some time. I don't know. It'll probably be an evening show. If anything, it'll be Thursday. If I can't do one before, the earliest it will be Thursday next week, Thursday daytime or Thursday evening. But I'll let you know. I'll see what time I get back tomorrow night from the football, and I may do a cheeky little evening session later on. But I say I'll let you know. I'll let you know how the day goes as well. And if West Ham are victorious, and if they are, great. And if they're not, then obviously sack the manager. But there we go. It's a good topic of debate, really. Not football per se, but as in about management and when managers should face the music, when coaches should face the music. Should they be responsible for everything that goes on, in the workplace, on the pitch, whatever it is? Does the buck stop with the manager, or actually is there something else going on? And it's a good topic of discussion. I'm not sure if it's a topic of discussion for this channel, but there we go. Hey, listen, all I can say is, well, unless there's any more questions, here we go. Yes, that's the feeling I get every time, but it's got a motor in it now. Yes, I will switch my notifications on there. Yes, please do. And I say it's one of those things to try and the system that I'm using now. Unfortunately, I haven't found a way to schedule a show using this with all the kind of different overlays. So I can use another system, but I don't know how that works with this. So I'm growing, I'm evolving, I'm developing. Just bear with me, hopefully at some point. But all I can say is what I will do, once I know I'm going to do a show, if I can't schedule it in the normal way, which I've been doing before Christmas, what I'll do, I'll put a community post up and I'll say, hey, look, I'm going to go live at 3 o'clock today. Come and join me, all that kind of stuff, right? But anyway, so all I suppose all you need to do is then subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and I think every time I come on, it should notify you to say that I'm live anyway. I think that's the way it works. And it's the same with Twitch as well. I think if you're watching it, then, or if you're on Twitch, then all of a sudden it will notify you that, this channel that you follow, and you can follow it and sign up to the tiers and everything like that, that it will notify you that we're on anyway. That's if you don't see that I'm going to be on schedules. Anyway, guys, listen, all I can say, it's been absolutely amazing that you've been here today. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate everybody. And I genuinely do mean that. I'm not just, blowing smoke up your ass. I actually genuinely do mean that. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for watching. Thanks for Morris. I really appreciate that. Thanks for joining and engaging in the conversation. Shooting the breeze, as it were, shooting the breeze, and talking about different things. I like to come out with the different stories, see what's out there in the world, see what's going on. Of course, you can go all the, social channels and all that sort of stuff. Show your support there. Follow me along there. But say this is my cubicle from now on. This is my cubicle. This is the one where I'll be talking, and then hopefully with maybe at the end of the day I'll have screens left and right, and kind of close myself in here, so it'll be hopefully I'll be able to run this a lot smoother than I have done. Not that great. Anyway, listen, it's been great seeing you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again on another live show very soon. It's been emotional. Cheers. Bye.